All right, it looks like we are live. So, good morning, everyone. It is officially MLK Day Q&A. Why? Because it rhymes, obviously. As if I need to explain that. Anyways, I'm feeling good today. Got a lot of cool stuff going on in 2018 already. A lot of really cool things happening. In the licensing world, just finished up a trap track that I might release a sort of preview of the tutorial here on my channel. What's up, Burn? Good to see you, man. And I don't know if I'm going to release that actually, but definitely, you know that feeling like right when you're done creating a track that you really love, like you're hyped up for like a day or two. I'm telling you guys, it's like the best thing. It's the best payment of making music is basically just doing that. So what's going on, guys? SG, what's up? Amityville, what's going on? I'm glad you guys are with me. And anyway, so I'm just like buzzing off of that last track that I made. I'm really, really stoked for it. So anyways, just feeling good about that. I think today I will start on another trap track. It sure does rhyme, Prado. What's up, man? Joe, what's going on, buddy? Yeah. So, but anyways, I'm feeling good. I don't know. I was a little bit, I'll be honest, like 2017, I had this feeling that I just knew it was going to be a great year. I knew I was going to be very productive, and I knew that some good things were going to happen. In 2018, I was a little bit skeptical. I was like, I don't know. I just sometimes get these feelings about the year, and I'm totally like not a superstitious person. But I will say, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I've noticed the odd years in my life have normally been better than the even years. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but like 2011, 2013, 2015, and 2017 were all really good years for me. Even years, not all of them were terrible, but like 2016 was kind of a darker year for me. That's when I left the licensing business for a couple of months, and I was getting a little bit really pessimistic about moving forward with it. 2014, I can't remember. I also felt like there was something not so exciting about that year either. So I don't know. I get a little bit weird about the even numbered years. And it's always, it's one of those things where like if you have a really good year in your career, you always want to top it the next year, but then you don't want to set your expectations so high that you're like, well, if I don't top it, I'll feel like I disappointed myself or whatever. So I guess I do sort of like, I get a little superstitious about that. But so far, 2018 is awesome. Really cool things are happening. So RL Williams, what's up, man? Voices around, how you doing? God Science, welcome. Yeah, so I'm glad you guys are here with me. If you guys have any questions about the licensing business, about anything going on in your world, hit me up. Basically, got a couple of minutes here. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to get started on another trap opportunity here for one of our gigs that we're working on. If you guys didn't see already, I just posted a video like 30 minutes ago. We have two new opportunities that just got released into the syndicate. We have a driving rock one and modern trap. And the modern trap one, I always get in trouble when I talk about trap music because I understand that there's a sort of authentic trap and then there's sort of the EDM, not really trap thing going on. So I don't get into that drama. I don't really care. I just want to make sure that we're pleasing our clients. So if you want, you just look at that video and you can go check out the instructional video, and I show you guys the references. You can kind of see what's going on. So Amityville, being with the syndicate for the first month. Yeah, I know you just joined us. Still learning and composing. Can't wait to submit for the first opportunity. Well, hopefully we can get you on the ones that are going on right now. Either the trap or the rock one. Would love to hear some of your tracks. Burn, what kind of computer do I use? I have an iMac. It is the, what is it, the 5K monitor. I can't remember what the specs here are. Let me look it up for you. So I'm using a iMac Retina 5K 27-inch late 2014. It's a couple years old. 4 gigahertz Intel i7 and 32 gigs of RAM. And then I am using a flash drive, whatever they call that thing. The not the drive that spins, but the just instant load up hard drive here. So that's what I'm working with on this one. You have a 2014 MacBook Pro, seems to be struggling with Ableton Live and thinking of getting the 2017 5K Mac. Yeah. You know, mostly about getting, I'd say if you're going to go there, go to the i7 processor. Don't do the i5, even though I know it's a lot cheaper, but the i7 will just give you that horsepower, I think, and just max out the RAM. That's really what you need to do if you want to use a lot of like CPU intensive plugins, libraries, samplers, that kind of thing. Just go to the max, and I don't think you should get your RAM from Apple. They way overcharge for their RAM. Go to like other World Computing. I think that's the company I go through, or just Mac World Sales or something like that. Just go online and just type in your model and look for RAM. I mean, I bought a whole 32 gig thing for a couple $100. I think that's all it was. So I massively updated mine. I think came with 4 gigs of RAM when I bought mine. So I maxed that out at 32. That's as much as mine can get. I think the 2017 models might get up to 64 now. I'm not really sure. So, and I don't think you were talking about the iMac Pro. That's a whole different thing. So, Trevor, what's up, bud? Yeah, I know. 15 days. And yeah, Trevor, you're having a great year so far. What's the syndicate? It's a good question. You know what I'll do is I will post a link rather than having to explain it here. Let me just get the link up here and make sure it works before I post it. The syndicate is sort of my inner circle, mentoring, guidance, mentorship, all that stuff in a Facebook group, essentially. And I'm not going to explain it here, but just copy and paste that link right there. You can go watch a video either now or afterwards. I have a video explainer kind of showing you what it is, what's included with it, what you get out of it, all that good stuff. Only question is the music directory 18 part of the package when subscribing to Syndicate? Yep, absolutely, man. You're going to get that when you, let's see, you're past your trial. So if you don't see it, it should be under week 2 in your master course area. So you just log in, look under week 2, and you'll see a download for the digital downloads. And it's basically a zip file that you just download, and it has all that stuff in there. So if you can't find it, email me, and I'll get it for you. Make sure you get it. Fan club, what's up? Who are you a fan club of? Wait, you know how to play guitar? Yeah, definitely know how to play guitar. If you can see those guitars back there, definitely know how to play guitar. I don't play it that often anymore these days. Not a lot of opportunities to play it so much with what I do. What's up, Lori? Other opportunities coming up in 18. It's hard to predict those things sometimes because I don't know what the current needs are all the time of our partners, but I do think that we are going to get a lot more and more often a lot of these album opportunities to build up, because we're basically working with a couple of distribution partners right now that are really trying to beef up their catalogs. And so I think we're going to do a lot more of that work this year. I think we're going to get a lot of custom cues as well. If you remember, at the end of 2017, we got hit with like 2 or 3 pretty massive opportunities from our partners, you know, national, international campaigns. So I expect more of that to come through. Hopefully we can kind of continue on with those custom gigs. But the album opportunities that we do, you know, a lot of times that's your bread and butter in this business. Those custom cues, when you land them, they're awesome, and you can get a nice fat check up front. But again, I don't think that's what you should be relying upon for your income main full-time. Building up your catalog, getting more tracks out there that can be placed in multiple opportunities and aired over and over again. That's really the bread and butter of your income. So we're gonna probably get a lot more of those this year, and which means more opportunities for more members to get their tracks out there. So you're welcome, Bern. Glad you like that. Yeah, let me know, Amityville, if you can't find the download. You definitely get that as soon as your trial's over. So, where are you? I'm right here. Where are you, Mr. Prado? I guess you're asking where I'm located. I'm actually in sort of San Bernardino, eastern Los Angeles area. That's where I live, if that's what you're asking. Sorry, don't mean to be a smartass. Is the minimal corporate queue from before Christmas still open? No, that has been closed. So yeah, we finished that one up actually when was that closed? I think it was closed in November, wasn't it? So that's been closed for a little while, Lori. So I don't know if you've logged in lately to the syndicate, but you can see when you log in, if you're a member of the syndicate, you just log in and you'll see on the pinned post all the open opportunities that are happening there. So Burn, do I ever have periods when I struggle to produce quality tracks? And how do I deal with slumps in confidence? Yeah, man, I actually just dealt with that literally yesterday. Yeah, just yesterday. I'm not a trap producer. Making hip hop is not really something that comes naturally to me. So I was struggling for a couple of hours trying to figure out how do I make this track work. It doesn't sound good. I was kind of like schizophrenic. I was going in a little bit of a glitchy experimental vibe, but then this other sort of cool thing. Actually, I'll play the track here for a second. Let me see if I can pull it up without. Can I pull it up? Let me try it real quick here, actually. See if I can do this without destroying my computer. I think I'll be able to handle the bandwidth of doing it, because I don't have it bounced down. I have to actually open up my Logic session to play it, but I think I should be able to do that. There we go. Yeah, so there you guys go. You can see some of that stuff going on. I can. I'll just actually play part of the chorus here. Let me make sure this is going to work. I think it's going to work. So anyways, that's the track that I was working on yesterday, and I'm putting the final touches on it. It's pretty much where I want it to be. But there's definitely, that took a long time to get to the point where I felt good about that. There's really no secrets other than just keep going, keep trying new things, try different plugins. Sometimes just running through a bunch of presets will actually reset your creativity sometimes, and you just stumble across the sound, you're like, ooh, that's cool. Or sometimes what I like to do, if I want a really gritty and aggressive track, or I just want something kind of different or experimental sounding, I'll throw in some weird distortion or guitar pedals onto my samplers, and then keeping those plugins intact, I'll actually cycle through a whole bunch of different presets from the synthesizer that I'm using, and just watching how, or listening to how those plugins affect each one of these presets. And then just going through that, you're kind of messing with ideas, and then something will just grab you and you move in that direction. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to get through writer's block and, you know, whatever, being not feeling inspired. Typically the best thing to do is just to try to push yourself through it for the first couple of minutes, 10, 20 minutes. If it really starts, you hit like the brakes and nothing's really moving forward, turn it off, go watch a YouTube video, go watch a music video, go listen to some other music, go take a walk, go outside, go call a friend, go read a book. I mean, sometimes it's better just to reset your whole mind, you know, and come back to it fresh after maybe an hour of taking a break from it. So, but the important thing is that you don't give up and you don't just stop halfway through a track and then leave it half finished on your hard drive. I know some of you guys, probably most of you guys, have those half finished songs laying around on your hard drive. It's a really bad habit to get into. You should really just always practice and try to make an effort to just finish every track you start, even if it's not your favorite track, even if you're not completely stoked on it. Get into this habit of just when you start a track, you finish it, right? Even if you're like, let's say 3 or 4 hours into the track and it's going nowhere and you're just really getting mad at it because it's just pissing you off. Okay, wipe it out, start clean, but definitely finish it, right? Start with something again, try new drums, try a new pattern, throw a loop in there that changes things up or whatever. Get a new idea, try a new reference track, but definitely don't stop your track halfway through and then, oh, I'll finish that next week when I'm feeling like it. Let me try something else. Because then you know you're going to try that next one, and that one you'll hit a little bit of a stumbling block, and you'll cut and stop working on that. Then you'll do another one, and that's how you have half-finished tracks laying around that don't do anything and certainly aren't going to earn you any money. Do I work with BMI? Yeah, I don't know if I work with them. I am a member of them, so they definitely work for me. And they do take a cut of my royalties in order to do that, to provide that service. So yeah, I don't know if I would say I partnered with them or whatever, but yeah, I'm definitely a writer with them and a publisher. Yeah, I definitely think, and you're not really leasing your music with them. Essentially what SG, this is your question, BMI, ASCAP, they are called performance rights organizations, and basically what they do, they're not unions, but they're kind of like unions in that they go out and they sort of help gather royalties for songwriters and publishers in the United States through the licensing business and stuff. So that's basically what they do. So you're not leasing your music to them. All you're essentially doing is signing up with them and basically saying, giving them authorization to go on your behalf, collect royalties, and then distribute them to you, right? That's what you're basically doing with them. And I do recommend BMI. It's what I recommend, especially for the TV film world. If you're in the artist world, I think ASCAP probably has some benefits because they do a lot more of that networking side of things. They put a lot more events on. They're probably a little bit more connected in the record industry and all that kind of stuff, just my opinion. But I think the BMI world is a little bit more friendly to the TV film licensing business. So So Prado, yeah, Los Angeles. I mean, greater Los Angeles area. I'm not really in the proper city limits. So, what is it saying? I don't know what you were talking about. So, what library would I recommend for EDM production besides Contact 5? Lately I'm getting into Serum. Serum is the plugin that Splice.com offers. You can actually just get it for, I think you can pay it month by month. It's like $10 a month. And when you're done paying it, it's not like a lease where you lose it if you stop paying. You basically, once you've paid off the entire, I don't know if it's 15 months or something like that, you get to keep it. Serum has a lot of great presets. I'm finding I didn't really love it when I first got it, but now I'm kind of finding there's a lot of cool custom things you can do with their presets. Silent is great for EDM. Massive is probably the best. I would say, another one that you should definitely invest in. I think between those three, I know that one of our producers really goes towards Lethal Audio, and I haven't checked it out yet. I think it's $200. And that's another one of these big, sort of plugins that has just tons of tracks or tons of sounds for EDM and all that kind of stuff. So between those four, I think you can find what you need. How many hours do I spend on average to finish an instrumental track from Burn? It's hard to calculate that from start to finish. I mean, I try to get it to within 2 days, but it's not like I'm working on it like, sun up to sundown both days. It depends also on the type of track. Let's say it's a full produced track. I'd say I try to do it between 2 and 3 days. And that's including some breaks that I'll take, and I'll be working on other things. I'll be doing stuff in the syndicate, providing feedback. So it's not like a sit down entire day, do that kind of a thing. So I'd say it's like probably 8 to 12 hours per full track, I guess, like complete time sitting down in front of my computer working on that. And that might be on the higher end of things. If it's a minimal queue, or it's just something that needs to be like a 60-second queue that's being requested for a lot of opportunities that I work with now, I mean, I can do those in a couple of hours. That's really not that hard to do. A lot of that stuff is really just, I have a lot of templates already set up. I have my mastering plugins already picked out, and a lot of it's just plug and play. It's like I'm creating a new drum beat and a new melody and a new lead, but really the sound is kind of the same. And then I'm using the same template or the same kind of mastering settings to do like 4 or 5 cues in an afternoon or in a couple of days. It's definitely possible. It might sound crazy to you, but yeah, if you can get some really efficient ways to produce your tracks, you can actually beef up your productivity really quickly. And those 4 or 5 tracks might not be my favorite tracks that I poured my heart and soul into, but I got them out there. They're in the system. They're producing royalties for me. And if a client needs them and I need it under a tight deadline, which is, you'll find that's basically how it always is in this business, you just got to do it. Just get out there and make it happen. Oh, my track. It was saying hustle up. Yeah, that was just me recording myself and then doing like a little bit of a stutter thing. So yeah, it's the sample is saying hustle up. So yeah, SG, one of your biggest problems is finishing tracks. Most producers have that, man. You're not alone. I used to have that issue. A lot of producers have that issue. You're definitely not alone. But it's really important. Like I said, it's better to finish a track that you're not that excited about than to leave it half finished. I'm telling you that. Even if you're like, this sucks. Finish it. Just finish that track. And what you'll do is you'll start to build a pattern of behavior where you expect, and your mind will start to expect that when we start a track, we finish it, right? And that's what you're going to start doing moving forward. So it's better to get in the habit of just finishing something, even if it's not your favorite track, or even if you think it sucks, it's just a terrible track, which we all do that from time to time. Just finish the thing. Put a the end on it. That way you know that, okay, now I can peacefully move forward into the other thing. The other thing is that fatigue. I think this is where fatigue comes from. When you get fatigued and you're feeling that burnout feeling over and over again, check to see if you have a lot of half-finished tracks on your hard drive. And that's probably the reason why you feel fatigued, because you're not getting the satisfaction of hitting the bounce button. Oh, I still have this plugged in. Cool. You still have that. You won't have that satisfaction of hitting bounce and going, okay, I'm done, and feeling that sense of like, accomplishment. If you're constantly, half finishing a job, you're digging a hole halfway, and then you stop and you take a break, and then you do another half hole and finish that one and stop, take a break. You never get that sense of like, like if you've ever done like housework or construction work or anything, that feeling of like stepping back and just like, crossing your arms and going like, wow, what a job well done. It was a lot of work, but I'm glad I got it done. That feeling of satisfaction is what gives you energy moving forward. So if you're constantly building half of a fence and you don't get it done, and building half of a pool and doing half of a job on a window repair, you never feel satisfied, right? Because you never get that sort of satisfaction that it was completed. So Give yourself the payday. The payday is you finish the job, you finish the track. You got to make sure you do that. So, what about general library for organic sounds? Organic sounds. It's a good question, Ralph. Can you be more specific about what you mean organic, like organic strings or like organic like mouth sounds? Like I don't know what you mean by organic sounds. If you can be more specific. What do I think about Netflix and other streaming services having such low royalty rates? Do you think the massive amount of shows being produced will counteract that? I did a video actually, Tyler, specifically talking about will streaming, I think it's called Will Streaming Kill the Music Licensing Business? So if you haven't watched that video, go watch it because I definitely talked about that in detail. I don't think that, to answer your second question, though, the massive amount of shows will not counteract anything. What will counteract that is advertising money. When more and more advertisers get on board with the streaming services and it becomes sort of like the go-to place to find consumers, whereas right now the TV industry is still the massive big market where a lot of advertisers are going to. Once the advertisers start really shifting over, once, you know, cable obviously is dying now, it's kind of transforming and losing subscribers. Once the advertising money goes into it, you got to remember that's who's paying us, guys, as music producers. Like the consumer obviously is paying the cable bill or the streaming fee and all that kind of stuff, and that is a part of the income. Obviously, that's a part of this equation. But it's really the advertisers that are paying those millions of billions of dollars in advertising fees to get the attention of the consumer. So there's money to be had all over the place, but really it's the advertisers that are really feeding the beast here. So the advertisers need to come on board, and they are. It's slowly getting there. Right now, you're absolutely right. It's laughable, the streaming rates that are happening right now, and a lot of people get pessimistic about that, and they think, well, you know, the good old days are over, and so that's it for us. But I always remember, and I had another video about this, that you got to remember that the cable industry is what, 40 years old, 30 years old. It came, you know, in the 70s, 80s, I think, is when it kind of first started growing in popularity, but it really didn't blossom, I don't think, until the late 90s. That's when cable really came into fruition or whatever. And you know, you got to think that, like, if you think that licensing is over, you got to imagine that, like, that was the one and only time and opportunity in mankind's history where you could really monetize your music through these mediums, right? And cable, it came out of nowhere. Like, you know, people are complaining now because they think the good old days are over, but yet cable came out of nowhere, you know, and people like me couldn't do this. There was no way that you could actually have a full-time income because there weren't this many reality shows and commercials and advertisements and promos and sports programs. Like, none of that stuff actually existed before the cable industry really blew up. And so, you know, I'm just thankful that it was here, and I got a sort of a tail piece of it, and we are getting a tail piece of it here as it's sort of transitioning into something else. But if you think that that was it, those 40 years were the golden years, those are the golden years of that, and there's just not going to be a way to monetize your music and licensing moving forward when you have now a vast array of like options for entertainment, not to mention, you know, just the streaming sites that you're talking about with Netflix, but VR, AR, just all the stuff that's going to be coming down the pipeline. I mean, if you think that your little window of opportunity was over, I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's almost very like narcissistic to think that that was the one window to take advantage of. I mean, if you're not paying attention right now, we are in the wild west of the technology boom that's happening right now. We're about to enter a ridiculous golden age of opportunities in the tech world, and it's happening right now. It's not like about to, it is happening right now. Some people are taking advantage of that and creating, you know, companies and opportunities and ways to do that. I mean, not to mention some of you guys, I know that Trevor just sent me this article about a company that's, you know, using cryptocurrencies to basically start doing royalty tracking and investment with music, and so providing basically new income streams for artists and stuff like that. So, you know, to think that like the good old days are over, it's like if you're not, the only way you would have that point of view is if you're just not paying attention, like you're just not literally watching the news, you're not like kind of keeping up to date with what's happening right now. If you're paying attention, you're seeing opportunities, nothing but opportunities coming through. Yes, you got to have some paradigms die for new ones to be born. So we are seeing a sort of shift right now. But I don't think it's anything to be pessimistic about or think that it's like the good old days are over. I just don't. It's not that I'm trying to be an optimist. I'm being a realist. I really just think that like we are living now in the world where technology is building on top of itself and providing these massive opportunities. All right, I'm really behind with the questions. Lori, what do I think about collaborations for opportunities? Syndicate members potentially collaborate on a queue, or should a producer say no? I think collaborations are great. If you can do something that another producer can't do, and you guys can sort of complement each other's strengths and weaknesses, why not? You should definitely do that. Yeah, definitely recommend collaborating as much as you possibly can. I do think that you should have a lot of music where you are or you should strive to do a lot of tracks where you are the 100% the composer. That's just what my experience has been. I've collaborated with quite a bit actually, with other producers as well. But it's nice to get that royalty that says 100% me, right? It's nice to get a lot of those royalties 100% coming towards me. But you can crank up your numbers, right? It's there's no right or wrong answer. It's just pros and cons. So if you collaborate with a couple of producers, you can probably double or triple your catalog numbers right away. But you have the income, obviously, because you're only taking half of the royalties that come through. So pros and cons. Just weigh what you want to do. You're welcome, SG. Glad you like the live streams. Burn, you have so many questions. It's all good, man. That's why I'm here. It's the MLK Day Q&A. That's what I'm here for. How do I track my songs from how complete they are when they've been submitted and what's been accepted, rejected, etc.? How do I track my songs from how complete they are? I don't know what you mean by, if you mean by accepted by a library, well, a library will typically tell you right off the bat, like, cool, we like them, or nah, we don't like this, or change this and that, and then we'll take it. So that's what you mean. But as far as getting placed, you can upload your tracks to something like TuneSat to see what's going on. It's not like 100%. You're not probably going to catch everything that happens, but you can probably get a general idea of what you're getting placed. But honestly, it's a very slow moving business. It's one of the drawbacks of how things work right now. You do have to give that 6 to 9 month period before, you see what happened with your royalties. So unfortunately, that feedback loop and actually I just did an interview with another YouTuber here who talks about stock music. And so I'll release that, I think, on Wednesday. And he had a really good point. Stock music, obviously the back end royalties aren't really there. You can get paid over and over again for the same cue, but there's no long-term passive incomes essentially for one placement necessarily with those kind of websites. But the thing that you get on that website is you can get an immediate, like, hey, a client downloaded your track. Like literally every day they send out reports to all the users. That would be great in this business. If somebody tells you from all of your tracks out there in the licensing business, this got placed this week. That'd be really cool to know. Why? Because I'd like to produce more and supply more of that kind of music to my partners to say, like, hey, I know that this is what people are wanting and this is what people are producing right now. And I'd love to be able to give them more of what they want, right? It's all about serving the needs of people who need music, East-West subscription is a great start. Yeah, I don't have the East-West subscription, but people say good things about it. So blockchain royalties, that's it, Trevor. That is, I think, who knows? My thing with blockchain and cryptocurrencies, all that stuff, I'm excited by it. I love it. I've invested in some of them. I don't know where they're going. Nobody knows. Anybody telling you that they know what's going to happen with these cryptocurrencies, they're talking out their butt. They don't really know what they're talking about. Nobody knows the future. Nobody knows what's going to be happening. So, I know that there's a lot of people right now chasing, these cryptocurrencies and stuff and getting excited about them. I always just say, be careful. You never want to invest or get more invested in that you're willing to lose. All these could go to zero tomorrow, guys. We don't know what the future is going to be. I just, be smart about this kind of stuff. But I do think that there are sort of promises of what this kind of current technology can do because it's being decentralized, right? There's not going to be a centralized sort of organization that can kind of cloud and like sort of not tell you what they're paying you or why they're paying you what they're paying you, right? Those days, the secrets and the sort of secret formulas are kind of dissipating. They're going away. Transparency and open source is the future. So I think that you will see that technology sort of spreading into every industry. It's definitely going to spread into the music business and the licensing business for sure. How it's going to do, what's going to work, which company is going to be able to pull it off the best or what technology will be able to do it. Who knows? But I think that, to not think that things are going to change and radically get like 180'd pretty quickly, that's pretty naive. It's definitely going to be happening. And I think it's going to turn out for the best for the most part for myself. I don't know about you guys, but every time technology comes and disrupts something, it normally makes things better, easier, less headache, less friction. Normally it goes in the right direction. Sure, there's going to be tweaks and problems and issues, on the first go around, just like every time, Apple releases a phone, or a new software update, there's always bugs, problems, and issues. That's why I never update right away. I always let them go through a couple of integrations before they generations before they figure out, oh, okay, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. Then they get it figured out, right? I don't know if any of you guys remember when Siri first came out, everybody was like, this is stupid. It can't even understand you. It doesn't work. Everybody thought it was dumb. They just were like, okay, it's kind of cute. You can ask it funny questions and that's it. And now everybody like relies on Siri. They have a virtual assistant in their hands and they take it for granted, right? We're already to the point, it's been just a couple of years, and now everybody just takes it for granted that Siri can just, remind you to do things and can perform tasks for you. It's basically a little assistant sitting in your pocket whenever you need him or her. So kind of nuts how fast people just sort of expect the stuff to just be working. In the beginning, they go like, this sucks, I don't like it, whatever. And then soon enough, you just expect it to be working and you just rely upon it like pretty much every single day. So it's just, it's human nature. It's how it works. So let's see. Feel conscious. Should you always keep the rights to your master recordings? I'm in talks with the music library that wants my rights to a master recordings and the publishing. I'm not sure if it's worth it. Well, you're going to find that is pretty much the standard in all the music licensing business, feel conscious. So it's one of those things that I've made some videos about that as a band, if you're in a band, I can understand that a band is trying to have a career and maybe get a deal and maybe whatever. You might have different goals than maybe what the licensing business has in store for you. That might be something you guys decide not to do. Now, as an individual writer and producer and composer, that's standard industry practice for a lot of the licensing contracts you're going to come across. So I had one member actually hit me up with a question about this, and I think I was going to make a video about it. Maybe I just forgot to do it, but he was really concerned that, a library wanted to work with him, wanted to get his music out there, but they wanted to, obviously, just like you were saying, they wanted the master rights and the copyrights or whatever. And he said, I just don't know how I feel about that. I kind of feel like that would be sort of selling my soul a little bit and kind of just giving up too much power. And my question to him and my question to you right now will be, what is your master recordings and your publishing? How much money are you making from your master recordings and your publishing right now? That's a serious question, okay? I'm not trying to be funny or cute. How much money are you making right now from the master recordings of those tracks and the publishing? Do you have a publishing deal? And are you selling these tracks? Do you have a distribution deal right now? What are you getting out of your master rights and your publishing? If you're making money and let's say there's a promise to be making money in the future, like you got a plan and you're working towards something to actually get it distributed and you're going to do something to actually earn income, then yeah, probably you shouldn't be giving up your master rights or your publishing, because you probably have a different plan. You're going to be making some money with that music. If your tracks are sitting on your hard drive or they're on SoundCloud and nobody's making any money, you're not making any money off of it, there's no distribution, nothing's happening with it, it's not being like distributed out there to people that can get you placements, what are you holding on? What's that? Like, it's kind of like it's that old, cliche, but you're holding on to 100% of nothing. You're like, I want 100% of my master rights and my publishing. All right. How much money is involved with that? Nothing. So do you really want to hold on to 100% of nothing? Or do you want to put your music in the hands of somebody who can get you paid, right? If you're trying to get paid, this is the channel for you. This is what I'm talking about. If you're just trying to make music for fun, or you want to, just for your own creative efforts and enjoyment, I have nothing to really offer other than best of luck and I hope you do well. I'm talking about how to do this full time, okay? So in order to do this full time, you have to think like a business person. You can't think necessarily like an artist that's trying to just protect, because somebody told you, never give up your publishing, never give up your master rights. Sometimes that's really good advice. Sometimes, not 100% of the time, okay? If your rights and your publishing are doing great for you right now and putting you on a path towards doing this full time, don't give them up, because you got something going for you. If you got nothing going for you right now, you got no distribution, no royalties, no sync fees, no downloads, you're not chart topping right now. You're not kind of getting out there in that sort of a way, and you're not able to monetize your music. What do you hold on to that stuff for? That's my question, right? This is an industry that requires that things be streamlined, and that's why you have to sign over, typically most of the time, your master recording rights and your publishing, because they don't want to have to come back to you every time a producer or a TV show producer or an ad agency wants to use your music. They need to have that pre-cleared up front. Their entire catalog needs to be pre-cleared so that they can go to their clients and go, hey, you want something for your TV show? You want something for your movie? You want something for your trailer or your commercial? All the music right here in our website, completely cleared. Take whatever you want, and we'll negotiate if there needs to be a sync fee or not a sync fee. all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to be getting your royalties, your writer royalties on the back end of those placements. Okay. So that's how the industry is just structured. It's got to be that way, or else nothing would ever work, because literally it'd be a bureaucratic nightmare. And it kind of already is in some ways, but libraries typically try to minimize all of that work to try to have to go get that permission gathering just by getting it all up front. So anyways, it's always like there's no right or wrong answer. It's just weigh your pros and cons. What are you holding on to? What are you saying no to for? If it's a good reason, then you're making the right choice. If you're not doing anything with your master rights, what's the point of holding on to them? Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. It's just opinion, right? So I'm not giving anybody career advice here. I'm not telling you what you should do. Just giving you maybe like a new perspective on how to think about this stuff. So. Oh, you're welcome, Tyler. Glad you like it. Do I use any of the output engines? What do you mean by output engines? Is that like a specific type of plugin, or what do you mean by output engines? I'm not familiar with that term is. All right, am I just, you guys have any more questions, or is this just like stalling out on me? I think that's all I got. Yeah, I can't tell. 23 of you guys are watching, so I think you guys are still here, but I don't see any more questions. So if I don't get any pretty soon, I'll probably just cut this short and get to work, because I'm excited about making some music today. So any other announcements or anything going on? I don't think so. Just check out the new opportunity. I know some of you guys are kind of like, you know, you always want to make sure that your music will be useful if you do want to join the syndicate. So just check out that video. I just uploaded it a couple hours ago, actually. So just check that out if you want to see if now would be a good time to get involved. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, all right, guys, I am going to cut this one short. Enjoy your MLK Day. I hope it's productive. Oh, there we go. Got a couple of questions coming in there. Maybe there's a delay or something. What do I do if I have an album that could potentially win a Grammy in my hard drive, but I made it in my bedroom and know nothing about the industry or how to earn through music? I want to think about this question for a second. No, because you're talking about basically going to winning a Grammy is the record side of the business, meaning you want sales and you want music videos, and I have nothing to do with that side of the business, so I'm sorry, I can't actually help you with that. Sorry, it's a company that has audio packs. I'm not familiar with them, man, so I'd have to check them out. So, Output Software Company. Yeah, I don't know. Let me look them up. Output Software Company. Output music software designed for modern musicians. We help you make music. Oh, okay. So they got strings, plugins, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. First time ever hearing of these guys and looking at this stuff. So I will. I'll check it out. I don't know. Are they expensive? Are they? Oh, $6.99 for all of those. So I don't know. I'd have to listen to their samples to know exactly what I'm getting myself into with that one. So, do I take a day off from producing or go 7 days a week? Yeah, definitely. I'll take days off. Kind of depends on the week. There's really no set schedule. Some weeks are really busy and I'm doing it 7 days a week. Other days I'm doing a little bit more business work on things and maybe mixing and mastering other people's tracks or just taking care of business stuff or whatever. So, but yeah, I try to take a day or two off here and there and try to chill. You got to have balance in your life. I can tell you, like, I love working and I love being involved with this business and doing what I'm doing, but I got to take a break from this too. Everybody's got to take a break. So you got to love what you do, but like have some balance, you know, go read a book, go take a walk, go have a little bit of a social life and just enjoy yourself. You know, it's like, I think a lot of people work, and then they're like, well, I'll go enjoy my life and do some traveling or do whatever I want to do when I'm retired. Like, you mean when your knees don't work so well and like you don't have as much energy as you do? Like, you got to have a little bit of fun along the way and kind of enjoy yourself a little bit. So I'm a strong believer. I think when I was in my early 20s, I was a little bit more super addicted to work, super just glued to like, no. I want to just work on this. I just want to do music. And so, you know, it's fun, you know, whatever. But, you know, as I'm getting a little bit older, I'm kind of thinking like, you know, that is, it's good to love what you do, but it's really important to also take some moments and take a breath and enjoy yourself a little bit. You know, go have fun with your family, go take a day off, hang with your kids, hang with your wife, hang with people that you care about, go to coffee with a friend, just enjoy yourself a little bit. That's what this is all about. You know, like obviously we love making music, we love the craft of it, but the ultimate goal is obviously to be able to spend more time with the people you want to spend more time with and not have to go to a day job or go work for things you don't want to really work with. What do I think about Taxi? Okay, so I personally signed with Taxi years ago, though, so I'm sure things have changed. But I signed up with them when I had a band in college in 2005, 2006, something like that. I was not that impressed with their services. We had asked for some feedback on one of our tracks, or maybe a demo I think we sent in, and we got some pretty vague, not so useful comments, and that was it. And we were kind of like, what did we just pay for? Like, that really wasn't helpful. Like, they didn't give us specific things that we could improve upon. So we actually asked for a refund right away. I know that some people have gotten placed with Taxi. I know that the people have success stories. I know what was that, there was that rock band that, like, because I had a rock band, so we were always looking to, what was it called? Crossfade? I think it was Crossfade, was a band that got signed with them through them. And so they kind of held them up as their sort of like flagship artist that really did well. So I know they do legit work. I know they absolutely can get things placed and all that kind of stuff. The one thing that I do say, though, about companies that sort of give a sort of like cattle call to thousands of producers of like, hey, here's an opportunity, submit your tracks. Obviously you can get placed. And I think that people who do submit to those opportunities, probably one person gets placed. However, your ability to get like interpersonal relationships built up that way, probably not going to happen. So you still need to go out and build your own direct relationships with libraries. I don't think you should be going. I tell that to all my syndicate members too. I say, hey, you know, this group is about feedback and guidance and helping you guys get through this this industry, through tutorials and all the stuff that we do, homework assignments, coaching, all that kind of stuff. But this cannot be your one-stop shop. The syndicate is not your one-stop shop. You better be going out there and building your own personal relationships with libraries. You need to have your direct connections with people. As well. So I make no mistakes about that. I don't try to like get people like, no, just stay and submit to only my opportunities. I want a lot of music coming into my opportunities, but I know for your career long term, you're going to need to have a couple of libraries that you work with. I mean, I did when I got started, so I'm just giving you my playbook, my blueprint for how I did it. I didn't work with just one library for my entire career and expect that was going to be my full-time income. I had 2 or 3 at a time that I was submitting to. So you got to get out there and you got to, get your own relationships built. So I wouldn't rely on any of these companies that's like, hey, here's, we send a mass email out to thousands of people and you guys submit your best thing and blah, blah, blah. You can get placed that way. Absolutely. Is that a recipe for having relationships with people in the industry? No, right? Because you're just always going to be one of thousands of people that submit. So you need to get to know people. People need to know you by your first name. They need to have your phone number in their phone. You need to be texting people. You should be on a texting basis with a library. I really do think that that's pretty much where you need to be if you want to be a serious player in this business. My relationships in this industry are on my phone. Okay, so I'm getting texts from people that I work with on a weekly, almost sometimes a daily basis, telling me CEOs of companies, CEOs of libraries are texting me saying we need this, we need that. That's where you need to be, right? You need to have people that know you on that intimate of a level, okay? Not a mass email campaign. Say, here's 1,000 people submitting for this opportunity. You're just not going to get those relationships built up that way. Yeah, try Serum, Amityville for sure. Do I attend NAMM? I have in the past. I'm not planning on doing. I don't do a lot of those trade shows and that kind of thing. I'm too busy. I'm honestly just kind of working too much, and to travel and go do that kind of stuff, it's like, I don't know. I mean, unless I was like maybe invited. Previously I was invited, so I was endorsed by this microphone company called this is embarrassing. I forgot the name. Lewitt Audio. I'm sorry, Lewitt. I don't think anybody's watching there. Lewitt Audio. It's been many years since they endorsed me, but they endorsed me probably 7 years ago. No, maybe not that long. Maybe 5 years ago. And they were great. They basically just sent me tons of microphones, and they said, try this, try that. And I loved it. I loved their products, and I'm obviously still using it here. And they invited me to some of their things at NAMM. And so I went and just hung out with them or whatever. But, you know, since then, it's like, go on YouTube and you can watch people's videos of it going there, and like they have wrap-ups of it. Same thing with CES. Like, I love the Consumer Electronics Show, and I've gone a couple of times, but you know, these days I can just watch a video that's like the best of, and it's like, all right, I can kind of see what's going on there. So unless you want to go to like network and talk to people and do all that kind of stuff, which is really cool, go for it. But I don't know, for me, I'm good with the relationships I have right now. I'm not really into networking too much. So let's see, Michael Johnson. What advice would I give for somebody getting back into the music, after years of inactivity? Probably the first thing you need to do is, just like with any skill, is just dust off your chops. So I remember I used to be I still am a drummer, but I don't really have a drum set. But I used to drum all the time, and then I would take a couple of months off because I'd get distracted and something would happen, and I'd go sit behind my drum set, and I'd have noodle arms. I couldn't play to save my life. And so it was about 2 weeks that I'd finally get my chops up. So I think what you should do is, if you're just getting back into making music, is just work and making music. Just get some new samples, try to update your sounds, make sure that you have modern sounding synths, drums, that kind of thing, and start practicing producing tracks, right? Don't think that the first track or the first 10 tracks maybe that you produce are going to be ones that you can submit. Maybe they are, you never know. But you got to dust your chops off a little bit, right? You just got to get in there, make a bunch of mistakes, get through that sucking phase real quickly if you can, and try to just, you know, relearn how to do that. It happens to me too. If I take too much time off of producing music, I'll have to come back and go like, how do you make a lead? How do you make a drum pattern that sounds cool? It takes, you know, a little while. Maybe it's just a couple of hours. It could be a couple of days or weeks. But just try to get your chops back up producing wise. That's how I'd say get started for sure. Captain Anthony, you've never met anyone that was impressed by Taxi. Impressed, I mean, that's a sort of subjective word. I definitely know people that have gotten placed, though, with them. And I think some of the people that work there are great, nice people that are offering a legitimate service. So I don't have anything negative to say about them. I'm just saying for my band, and this was more than 10 years ago, it wasn't right for us. We didn't feel like it was beneficial. And I do think that, again, long-term, focusing on those kind of opportunities is not a long-term winning strategy. It can get you a placement. It can definitely work. I don't think they're scamming people where they don't have the opportunities. I think they do have the opportunities, but I just said that, you know, 1 out of 1,000 people to get it, I don't know, maybe not the way to go. So, Burn, thanks for the course. You got placed in a couple of non-exclusive libraries, but no placements. All right, cool, man. Wondering, how do you get through the long wait of starting in the business and actually seeing results? No shortcuts for that, Burn. I can tell you, that's kind of you basically just summarized why the syndicate exists. That was actually a really good way to put it. There's a lot of sitting and waiting and just working without seeing a lot of results in this industry. That's why I've always said that it's not for all producers, and it takes a long-term mindset. You're not going to do this in a get-rich-quick sort of a fashion. And that's what started burning me out a little bit. I mean, I had the royalties coming in, obviously, but I felt this sort of like isolation of like, man, I wish does anybody else feel this way sometimes in the industry, right? Somebody else feel that they're a little bit burnt out or they want to reinvent themselves or whatever. That's what I was missing before I started the syndicate. I didn't have this network. And it's kind of crazy that it's just like happened and it's like appearing now. I was just logging into the group yesterday, and there was a member doing a live tutorial of him producing tracks. And I was like, this is so awesome that I get to watch somebody else going through the creative process. And he was very brave to broadcast. I mean, if you guys know, starting a track, sometimes you suck in the beginning. I certainly did with my trap song. And he was very brave to just turn on his webcam and go, hey guys, I'm going to show you how I'm creating this track and give it a shot or whatever. And I thought that was really cool that he showed that vulnerability, and he was willing to do that. Because in some ways, it's like being naked on camera, showing people your creative process before it's ready to be shown, and like an artist showing his painting before it's done. It's a lot of bravery to do that. So hats off to this guy. I don't know if he wants me to, I'll say his name is Greg, okay? I won't mention anything else. But Greg obviously showed a lot of guts by doing that, and I think that's really cool. And so just by him doing that, I personally logged in, saw him going through that, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And it got me excited and stoked that I wanted to go work on my music. And this is happening now all the time in the group. People are posting tutorials and their live productions and just posts about what they think and what they're going through, some of their struggles, some of their triumphs. And so there's now just this like tight-knit community of supportive people that are all going through this together. That's what this is really about. So Bern, you described it completely. That's exactly what we're doing. So it's in Anaheim this year. Yeah, I think it's been in Anaheim before too, hasn't it? I remember it always being by Disneyland. Maybe it was in Vegas before. So layer along. I should get into merch. You know what? I don't have my cup. Hold on. I do have a cup though. Hold on. This is disappointing. You guys are expecting a nice big reveal here, and I cannot find my cup. That sucks. Well, it'll be revealed another day. But yes, there's definitely there's not really merch, but there's something I was going to show you guys. So, ta-da! Sorry, big letdown. Does BMI pay international clients too? Like non-North Americans? If so, how do they produce payments? Yes. So as far as my understanding, you can, if you're like not in the US and you want to work with BMI, you can join BMI. However, if you're currently signed up with a PRO in your country, you do need to talk to them, call them on the phone and say, this is what I want to do. I want to work with US libraries. Can I do that through your PRO? Do I have to leave your PRO and join BMI? Because you can join BMI. You have to fill out sort of a foreign tax document to do it. I actually have one member right now who's concerned about that. I think he's from Australia, and he wanted to learn. He didn't know how that process worked. And I said, listen, there's so many PROs all over the world. I don't know how all of them work. So what you need to do if you're in another country and you're signed with your PRO, call them and just say, hey, I want to work with some US companies. How does that work? How does the registration process work? Do you guys collect royalties? Would I have to sign up with BMI for them to represent me just in the US, and you guys would represent me in our home country? Whatever it is, every PRO has different regulations and different ways that they do business. So I can't keep on top of every PRO for all over the world. So you guys definitely need to go call your PRO and find out. But it absolutely can be done. I have members in the syndicate from the UK and Ireland that are doing work here in the US, so they've got it figured out. So it absolutely can be done, but every PRO has its own little regulations. So just get on the phone, and you should be getting on the phone anyways with your PRO. You should be friends with these people. They're kind of making your full-time income possible in the future. So be nice to them. And do you feel you always stuck starting a true track? Yeah, it's kind of like having that blank paper as a writer, and like, where do you start? It's really, really hard. I know. Michael, thanks for your insight. You're welcome, man. I live in Las Vegas as well. I used to be in Vegas, man. I don't know if you caught it. I actually moved out of Vegas. Was it been like 6 months ago now? So I've been out of Vegas for a little while. Open to internship? No, I don't really do internships, man. There might be an opportunity in the future, but I would say like the best thing, I mean, I don't know internship in terms of like producing music or whatever, but I would say just start producing music. I don't think you need an internship to learn how to produce music. I think you just need to start doing it, start improving your productions, start trying new things out, update your samples, your sounds as best you can. Don't go broke doing it, but just, try opening yourself up to some new sounds. Internships can be really useful, but I think sometimes it can be a way to procrastinate just doing the work you need to do. Like, just if you have a home studio, Michael, and I'm imagining you have like at least a laptop or something you can produce music with, you don't need an internship. You just need to start producing music. That's pretty much it, man. Burn, you'd buy a Sync My Music mug. Right on, man. That's exactly what it was. Can't believe I can't find it right now. What a bummer. Hey Jesse, Philly cheese. If you're from Canada, should you use your local society or go with ASCAP or BMI? That is a good question. I gotta be honest, man. I don't really know. What I would do is probably call SOCAM and ask them. Like, I imagine you're asking this because you're not a member yet. So I would call them though and say, hey, first of all, just find out what their opinion is or what they say you should do, because obviously if they can get you as a client and then also let you work with the US, they're going to want to do that, right? And they're going to probably tell you what the benefits of doing that are and what they can do for you, because they're going to want to probably sign you. So I would call them and just say, like, this is what you're trying to do. You want to work primarily in the US. You understand that obviously SOCAN is your PRO for Canada. So you just want to ask them, how would that process work? How does this whole industry work in terms of registering tracks that are in the US and all that kind of stuff? I would just ask them and just see what they say, because it's possible. I don't know how SOCAN does it either. It's possible that they say, hey, you can register with us, but BMI and ASCAP can also. I should look up SOCAN, because I think most of the people that are finding out about me are probably right up our neighbors up here in Canada. So I should know that. So a little bit of ignorance on my part, but I would just call them, man, and ask them what they think and how that would work if they were to sign with, if you were to sign with them, but do work with U.S. companies. There you go. Ace, he's from the UK, he's from BMI. So, yeah, Ace definitely has been able to do it. What made you decide on the DIW that you're using? RL, I actually chose Logic Pro 2006, 2005. I've been with Logic for more than a decade, actually. So, and I used it because I've always been sort of a Mac person. But I didn't, you know what? In college, I didn't have a Mac. I had a PC. I think when I was in college and I was, they had some production classes, they were using Logic Pro. So I think it's kind of one of those things, like whatever you learn on is kind of what you stay with. I was learning Digital Performer, which has been extinct, and Logic 7 or 6 or whatever it was back then. So that's just what I learned on. So you kind of just stick with what you know. And so as time went on, I kept on buying Mac products and staying with Logic. And then when they really upgraded, I think it was Logic 9 and Logic 10, one of the upgrades, they really stepped up their producing capabilities and the features they had to make it easier to make music with MIDI. And that's when I was like, yeah, I'm sticking with Logic. Like they got this stuff figured out. Pro Tools seemed to be really great with tracking and vocals and that kind of thing, but Logic just seemed to have that producer composer edge that I was looking for. So I just stuck with it, and I like what they've been doing, and I'm hearing rumors that they have an update coming up soon that's actually going to include some pretty awesome new samples. So we'll see if that actually comes through or whatever. So we'll see. But Apple I have issues with right now. I'm not happy with Apple, and some of their phone stuff that they've been doing. But when it comes to software, I know they bought out Logic from whoever created it, but some of their software, they do well. Like they still have that stuff sort of figured out, like how to make things intuitive and easy and powerful. So I think Apple has some really good things for creative people. So I'm still sticking with them. And when it comes down to software, we'll see. I know there's going to be new players coming up, and maybe I'll do the switch. So Prado, you want to see the cup when I find it? Yeah, man. I don't know. It's probably sitting on some counter somewhere. I just didn't see it. I'm just making sure it's not like sitting on my desk here, but no, it's definitely not around here. Have a great day too, man. Glad you could tune in. Okay, so Tyler has some info for us. Philly cheese. I hope you're here and listening. Oh, there you go. You did hear it. He's from Canada, SOCAN member, and they let you pick between ASCAP and BMI as a partner PRL. There you go. So that's what sometimes they let you do. What are your must-have alt mixes? Do you always get a vocal-only mix along with the full and instrumental version? So my alt mixes typically, it's not always the case, but typically it's full drum and bass and no leads. And sometimes that no leads is called a narration version or a narrative version. And then there's also the cut downs. Cut downs typically are 60, a combination of maybe some of these, 60, 30, 15, and stinger. So you'll have those 4 cut downs as well. And vocals, I don't do a lot of music these days that have vocals on them anyway, so I don't really provide the vocal only. But if there is like a vocal sample or maybe some harmonies or some oohs or ahs happening, I will have a sort of no vocal alt mix. So it'll be everything minus the vocal. So that is another alt mix that I'll throw in there. So Official Richie 6, what's up, man? Glad you joined us here. Well, we're gonna cut this off at exactly an hour, guys. So we have 2 minutes left, so get in your last minute questions now, because I got to get back to work. I want to make some music. I'm feeling excited and hyped up today, so I'm stoked to get that stuff going. Stefan, if a library has a lot of particular genre that you're strong in, is it better to submit your music of that particular genre or go to a library that has less of that genre? Probably more important that your music is on par or better than what they currently have, okay? So if you do rock music and they have tons of rock, if your music is way better than what they have, you got a better chance of getting accepted because you're going to be upping their production value, their catalog value for their clients, okay? It's more important the quality of your music. I think that's the first thing you should be looking at. Of course, another thing would be if they're stacked with, rock music and that's what you do, yeah, maybe, and your music is probably just as good as what they have, you don't have a really high chance of getting accepted. What do they need you for? They've got tons of other producers and tons of other writers supplying them with tons of that stuff. So maybe, yeah, you do want to look for another library that's a little bit thin on the rock side, and maybe their rock stuff sucks. It sounds like karaoke music, and yours is much better. So I would think that that's the way to go. So Amityville, you got the directory. Right on, man. Have fun with that. There's a lot of companies in there, so I hope you find something you can sink your teeth into. That'd be great. So, all right, guys, 30 seconds, last chance. I'm gonna check out some last minute questions here, and then I'm out. You're welcome, Tyler. Glad you enjoyed, man. Glad you got some questions answered. Am I going to live stream making music today? And Celino, not today. I'll just be honest, I'm not that brave. I'm not that brave. Some of my music really sucks in the beginning, guys. It really sucks. And I'm not ready to do that yet. I think I'll challenge myself to be brave and do that sometime, someday. Sorry, not today. What I do, like I said, what I might release is the sort of walkthrough of either this previous track that I kind of gave you guys a preview of on this live stream, or I will do a walkthrough of the next one or something, and I'll kind of show you guys the sort of start to finish how I created it and what I'm doing with it. So that's basically what I could do for you guys right now. But yeah, the sort of live stream of making music, that's a different animal. So I'll work my way up to doing that. Maybe when it's a genre also, that's the other thing. When it's a genre that I'm really comfortable with, I'd feel more comfortable doing that. Trap, it's not something that comes naturally to me, and I really have to bang my head against the wall a couple times before things start sounding good. So, all right, guys, we've hit the hour mark. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your MLK day. Be productive. If you guys have I don't know, do people get the day off? I don't know if people do. If you do, hopefully you can spend it making some music. If not, when you get home, make some music. And I hope you guys have a great, awesome rest of your day, and keep up the productivity, and we'll talk soon.